Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 6 things that we learned from Bradford City 2 at Colchester United 1. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try to 80 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so and it does massively help out. Drop a comment in as well down in the comment section down below. We're going to go through 6 different either players, the fans, the referee, everything that we could possibly go through. Let me know what your thoughts are on all the topics that we do go on to discuss in today's video. Now I say we, it's an I this week. I am all alone. Frankie's on holiday, so unfortunately it's just me this week. But let's waste no further time. Make sure to drop a like on there for me. Subscribe if you do as well. Let's get into it. Channel memberships are now cheaper than ever, with tier 1 costing just 99p. Tier 2 has been reduced from £3.99 a month down to £1.99 a month, and tier 3 has been reduced from £8.99 a month down to just £4.99 a month. Your support as always is massively appreciated, and the more members that we have, the better the content will be. Enjoy the rest of the video. Starting out then with the man of the moment right now, we are going to be giving a green box to Clark Oduor. I'm still not really sure how you pronounce his name, but he looks like an absolutely unbelievable signing. After coming in on a free transfer, 3-year contract signed up from Barnes, he looks like an absolutely brilliant player. I wasn't really impressed with him from what I saw from him in pre-season, but since the competitive matches have started, and we've seen this before with a fair few players to be fair, pre-season, they just kind of go through the motions really, but since the competitive matches have started, we've seen the best from Clark Oduor. Was very good last week against Crawley, had another really good 70 minutes against Colchester. I'm not really too sure why he came off, because when he came off for Oduor, who didn't really affect the game whatsoever, we didn't really lost our mojo going forward. We lost our attacking intent, but in that first half, Oduor was one of the few players who wanted to get on the ball, creating chances. Obviously gets a goal and an assist in the game. Yes, the goal's a little bit lucky, but how many times last season did we say that Andy Cook didn't really have much support? That first goal comes from a long ball up to Andy Cook. He wins that, and you've got Smith and Oduor already gambling, already anticipating, running on beyond him, and then Smith gets the shot off, parried by the keeper, and because Oduor's following it in, as you're always taught to do, it's not luck really, it's luck the fact that it's hit him in the face and gone in, but sometimes you got to create your own luck, and I think that's what Clark Oduor did by following it in. I think overall he had a really, really good game. He's pacey, direct, very skillful, very tricky, doesn't really lose the ball all too much, and I thought he had a really, really good game in my opinion. So Clark Oduor is who we're going to start out with a green box. Next up then, we're going to talk about Harry Lewis. Now this could have been red, but in the end I've gone with a yellow box. Obviously he made an absolutely massive error for that first goal. I don't know if he didn't get a shout of man on, but he just didn't really look comfortable for the majority of the game. But it wasn't just that goal. I mean, the fact that he didn't clear it or just put it out for a corner, something was stupid. I didn't really know what I expected to happen, as he maybe been told just to relax on the ball. I'm not really too sure, but he took far too long on it. Obviously gets tackled, and eventually the ball does go in the back of the net. Now, I'm not so sure if Smallwood actually got a touch on it, because if Smallwood didn't touch it, then Taylor's actually offside. So I'm not really too sure if that goal should have counted, but if Smallwood didn't touch it, then is it a foul? But then what comes first? Is it the offside or is it the foul? I don't really know how the laws work, but yeah, Lewis didn't have his greatest game. The only reason why it's not a red is he made an unbelievable save towards the end of the game. It was number 22 for Colchester. Is it Junior to Shimedu, something like that? He shot and it looked like he was going to try and whip it far post. He then pulled it back to that near post. Harry Lewis got down very well. It's really late on in the game, and despite having such a poor game, he still came up with a big save, and I think he looked shaky for the majority of the game. There was some sort of a cross, it might have been a free kick or a corner that came in, and it was an easy catch for Lewis. He ended up fumbling it, and he just doesn't really look comfortable. He had a poor game against Crawley, was very good on Tuesday against Accrington, and then against Colchester again, very hit and miss. So fingers crossed he can get out of this bad form at the moment, because he had a pretty poor end to the season last year as well, and he can get back to the form that we know Harry Lewis, can produce, because he's a very good goalkeeper at this level. It seems like this whole transfer talk with Barnsley could have potentially had a little bit of an impact on his performances, but for me personally, I think a red box would be harsh because of how massive that save was towards the end of the game, but it was still a big mistake for Harry Lewis, and he's going to have to go down as a yellow box. Moving on then to Alex Pattison, he's also going to get a green box for me. I think as more games are going by, he's getting better and better. That's 2 goals now in 2 matches for him, obviously scoring against Accrington on Tuesday, coming up with the match winner in this one. He had another really, really good game. It's nice to see a goal-scoring midfielder, someone who wants to get on the ball and drive forward with it, and he's so good at that. First half didn't really affect the game all too much. He didn't do anything bad, but he was just kind of not going through the motions, but just not really doing enough to really shout about like what Oduor was maybe doing, and Tyler Smith as well. But Pattison, especially in that second half, his engine is absolutely unbelievable. That man does not stop running, and the goal is an absolutely brilliant one. How long has it been since we've had a midfielder, pick up the ball from pretty much inside his own half, and Oduor flicks it, but his run starts from inside his own half, sprints half the length of the pitch, shoots, and he drills it into that bottom corner. The keeper stood absolutely no chance. I mean, any goalkeeper getting beat at their near post should probably have question marks over them, but it was still an absolutely brilliant finish from Alex Pattison, and he seems like a really, really good pickup from us. I mean, he was someone who I suggested that we should sign in the summer. Thankfully, we managed to get him in through the door, and like what I say, I don't think the position that he was playing in pre-season and against Crawley really suited him, but against Accrington and now Colchester, where he seems to have a little bit more freedom to get forward, he's now scoring goals, he's finishing chances, and he looks like a really, really good player. Really happy to get him in through the door, and like what I say, first half not as effective as what I would like, but in that second half he was absolutely brilliant, and it just looks like an absolutely unbelievable signing, so he's got to get a green box for me. We move on then to Andy Cook. Now, I absolutely love the man, but it was a nightmare really for Andy Cook. He's going to have to get a red box, and hopefully there's no more red boxes to come, but Andy Cook against Colchester just looked like he was trying far too hard. I think because last season we were so over-reliant on Andy Cook, he's got that in his head where he needs to take on 3 or 4 players and then try and stick one in the back of the net, whereas now he's got players around him like Smith, Oduor, Walker when he's on the pitch, Pattison as well driving forward. He needs to realise that he does need to pass the ball more, and he had a fair few half chances, and there were some times where he just fell over his own feet, fell over the ball, and his all-round hold-up play wasn't too bad, but he was losing quite a lot in the air compared to normal. I don't know if having the bandage around his head was affecting him, because it seemed certainly that way in my opinion, and it was just not really nice to watch Andy Cook yesterday. He was trying far too hard, and I hope that it doesn't continue, because we saw in pre-season he can score goals. He scored a hat-trick against Championship side Middlesbrough, but he's not fit. I don't think he's had a clear-cut chance yet where you think, oh my god, Andy Cook would have scored that last season, but he had a fair few half chances yesterday, and it's just not really falling for him right now. I think once he gets up and running for the season, I think he will, kick on and produce the form that we saw from him last season, but as of right now, it was just a poor game yesterday from Andy Cook, and I don't think he was bad against Accrington on Tuesday. He wasn't really involved too much against Crawley, and obviously he's taken a fair few whacks in most of these games. He did also score his penalty against Accrington, so it's not like it's something to worry about as of right now. In my opinion, I think it just was a bad game for Andy Cook, who was trying too hard, and I think because Oliver's going to be out for about another 6-7 weeks, something like that, Cook knows that if he's fit, he's probably going to play, and he's not really got that real competition as of right now. And I think when Oliver comes back, Cook's going to get that rocket up his backside again, and I feel like it's going to motivate him even more. I mean, obviously, he loves scoring goals for Bradford City, but I think he just needs that extra 1-2% to really kick him on now, and I just think he needs to get his head up a little bit more. Like we saw him actually towards the end of the game, he did get his head up, and he played a great ball through to Tyler Smith, and Smith should have scored that, or at least hit the target, and he hit the side net, and maybe if that would have gone in, we might not have been talking about a red for Andy Cook here, but for me personally, I just think he does need to pass more. Like, there were a good 4 or 5 opportunities where, and I know he's a striker, I know that's natural instinct, but he should be passing a little bit more, in my opinion, because we've seen it, he certainly can do that, and I think if he maybe plays a pass to Tyler Smith, who's running forward, Smith can then cut it back and give Andy Cook a better chance rather than him wanting to take on 2 or 3 players. And like I say, I know that's what strikers want to do. They want all the glory, they want to score the goals, but I think he just needs to get his head up a little bit more and pass, in my opinion. A man who we have mentioned a couple times so far in today's video is Tyler Smith, and he's going to get a green box for me. I think that's his best performance that I've seen from him so far in a Bradford City shirt. I haven't really been impressed with what I've seen from him so far. I think he's been very ineffective, but against Colchester, affected the game massively. Came on after about 25 minutes, half an hour, something like that, for Jamie Walker, who's obviously gone off with injury. He is a doubt for Tuesday, which is going to be a bit of a loss for us, but if Tyler Smith's coming in, I don't think that's a bad replacement for Walker whatsoever, in my opinion. Now, I know they're slightly different types of players, and Smith is playing a little bit out of position, playing as like a left-sided 10, but it worked really well, and, he brought energy, brought pace, brought runs in behind, and if it wasn't for his tenacity, I don't think we score that first goal, because he takes an early shot on and it probably catches the keeper out a little bit. Yes, the keeper should definitely do a lot better with it, he parries it right in front of Oduor, but I was really impressed with what I saw from Smith, constantly pressing, sprinting, just what you want to see as a fan, hard work, and he brought that in abundance. I think if he can just up his finishing a little bit, work on his finishing a little bit more, I think he could come really good for us this season. And obviously he'll take a bit of pressure off Andy Cook from last year. We know that we needed goals, and it looks like we're going to have that this season with Pattison, with potentially Tyler Smith as well. Clark Oduor's chipping in with a few as well, but Smith for me, brilliant impact on off the bench, and that's what you want from your substitutes, especially when he probably didn't expect to be going on so early in the game. He's probably not prepared to be coming on after only half an hour. I think the way he affected the game was brilliant in my opinion, and he does so much running, so many hard yards, that it has to be a green box. And he probably will start on Tuesday now, and I think he does deserve that. Now, like what I say, he's playing slightly out of position, so sometimes he might not know exactly where to be, but he's a striker at the end of the day. He's going to sniff out chances, and I think if a chance falls to him in the box, he probably would take it. And I think his first touch is absolutely brilliant. There were a couple of times where players were firing the ball into him, and he just traps it so well. He's got one of the best first touches in the team. I think that's very important for when he's playing as a number 10. He's picking it up in little pockets in tight areas to have a brilliant first touch. Now, he's not the strongest and he's going to lose a lot of aerial duels, but if the ball's on the floor, you'd back him to beat a man 9 times out of 10. I think he's looking like a really, really good sign, and hopefully he can continue that form into Tuesday and the coming weeks if he is to get that start, which I think he probably will be. I think he did more than enough off the bench to take Jamie Walker's place, even if he's available or not. Walker hasn't really affected any game since that first half against Crawley, but for me personally, I was very impressed with what I saw from Tyler Smith, and he's going to get a green box in my opinion. And the final talking point we have in today's video is Mark Hughes, but before we get into him, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Get your thoughts on these 6 talking points down in the comment section down below, but Mark Hughes for me is going to get a yellow box. Now, the team selection on the whole I thought was pretty good. Obviously Liam Rideout suffered some sort of back injury against Accrington on Tuesday, and Mark Hughes felt it would be better to go with Gilead, and I thought Gilead provided some good energy, and he's probably a little bit harsh to not have a box in my opinion, but I thought the team selection on a whole was much better than what we've seen in the first couple of games. I'd still like to see Oduor in there. Now, Kelly had a pretty solid game, probably his best performance of the season, but I still think we need that recovery pace in there in Oduor, because defensively we did look very slow. The only reason why Hughes has not got a green rather than a yellow is we're still playing like what we did last season, where we go 1 goal up and then we just sit back and we invite pressure. And while Colchester might not have been able to capitalise on it on this occasion, we saw last season we've got such a soft underbelly, and a better team would have taken some of them chances that Colchester created. And I think when you've got such a slow defence and you're vulnerable to that ball in behind, to then be sitting back on that and allowing that to happen, it's just a recipe for disaster. Now, it might potentially not be Mark Hughes' tactics, but it's certainly seemed that way. He wasn't exactly on the touchline screaming for them to get out and attack. I think when you take off Clark Oduor, you're going a little bit more defensive, because Oduor doesn't really offer you that natural pace, technical ability that Oduor does. Oduor is more of a, I don't really know how to describe it, but he's more physical with his runs rather than technical in Clark Oduor, and I think that did hinder us a little bit. We changed formation from the 3-4-3 to more like a 5-3-2, and again, you're just inviting pressure, sitting off teams, and it is going to cost us again this season. We can't play like that. We should have been going and getting that 3rd goal, because when we got the 2nd goal, we were on top, their heads were down, they looked beaten, and then we had maybe another 5 or 10 minute period where we were really going for it, and then after that we were just sitting off and just allowing them and inviting pressure. We hit them on the counter a couple of times, but you don't really want to be playing on the counter attack at home when you're 1 goal up against, with all due respect to a team like Colchester, who are not exactly tipped to be promoted this season. I don't think they're a bad team whatsoever. I think Ben Garner is going to shock a few teams this season. I think their starting 11 certainly is very good, but we can't be seeing us try to sit back on leads, just 1 goal leads anyway at home. That's not going to go well with the fans, because you want the fans to be singing and being loud, and they're not going to be like that if everyone's nervous and we're hanging on. And you don't really want to be hanging on. We should be going at teams, and if you were constantly having chances, and obviously Colchester are going to have their moments at times, but when for the large majority of it, we need to be going forward, we need to be attacking, and that's where you get the fans up, and that's where the game doesn't feel like it's going on for an absolute age, especially now with the injury time, where we're going to be seeing between 8 and 15 minutes of injury time every single game in the second half, to then I've already sat back for 20 minutes and have to do it for another 10 to 15 minutes potentially. It's just a recipe for disaster in my opinion. So for that reason, I'm going to end with Mark Hughes getting a yellow box. To summarise today's video then, Clark Oduor got a green box, Harry Lewis got a yellow box, Alex Pattison got a green box, Andy Cook got a red box, Tyler Smith got a green box, and Mark Hughes got a yellow box. Like what I say, Frank was unfortunately unavailable for today as he is on holiday. He should hopefully though be back for Tuesday's 6 things that we learned. That should be coming out on Wednesday, I do believe. But I'm going to leave it there for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try to 80 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed. If you haven't already, with that post notification bell on, it's free to do so and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below on the 6 talking points that we mentioned in today's video. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all very soon for another one. Peace.